Why am I here? What does the Lord want from me? How much wood could a woodchuck chuck?
Important questions in life.
What's that?
Music.
Oh.
It's a very slow kind of opening to this. We need something more lively for our Monday morning.
Your definition of lively and mine.
Let's go back to our greatest hit. There it is. That's our theme music.
Bump. Bump. Bump.
Well, we are on both. It's working.
What?
Elizabeth says lively would be Father Kent dancing around and giving some entertainment with some music.
I don't know about that. Oh no. Oh, don't do it. Were they hearing our whole conversation about live music? Probably. Bump, 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 bump. Coffee? You guys, oh, that's hilarious. I want this played at my funeral.
Back in the pandemic of 2020.
Father Ashmore declared this would be the song played at his funeral. It's a subdued joy. Can you imagine this? It'd be a prelude.
Prelude to a funeral.
Exactly. Not just a funeral. My funeral.
I'm dying already. Hi, Mary. This one is not nice and peppy. Maybe nice, but not peppy.
Bum. You can feel the anxiety growing in the piece. And it's relieved.
Gotten sunny out.
It's true. The coloring is particularly good today, it seems to me.
Alright, I can't take this anymore. This is not Monday music.
I mean, or it might be Monday music.
Well, true.
Like,
This is much more... I like this one. It's so joyful.
people don't understand joy.
It's true.
They think that frivolity is joy.
Okay.
No, frivolity is not bad.
I would not call this piece frivolous. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. Welcome. Bendiciones, Naomi.
I do like the frivolity of this piece. I've come up with another interesting topic to talk about in the beginning too.
Oh, have you now?
It is so thoroughly me.
I am glad that you have got it done. It's good. It's good. Good, good, good. Good, good, good.
If they want, they can play this at my canonization.
Excuse me. Hello, Kathleen. My sister just sent me her hilo and fire. Fire. Yeah, so
all the pieces for your funeral and your canonization, taken
Exactly.
from the Fireside
We
Chat.
haven't chosen anything for beatification yet. We'll find it.
I still need to do my funeral planning.
I do too.
Yeah.
I need to do a lot practically when it comes to like long-term planning. But
Yeah.
I just
That
don't.
would be a good project for me to do, like,
That's a good
during this
idea.
time.
That's a really good idea.
It's something I keep
I need
on
to
putting
like,
off.
I need to contact like a financial guy. I need to.
Yeah.
I need something to get my taxes done. But
Yeah, thank goodness for June
Oh, yeah.
extension, because I
Well,
haven't even thought.
I had a. That was one of my plans for March, obviously, but then quarantine happened.
Sure, right.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a plan for a lot of people in March.
Mm-hmm. Bum, 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 bum. It's a comedy hour.
Comedy hour.
Oh.
Well, I make no promises of comedy hour, but I do make. Well, it's 10 o'clock, so it's time to begin.
It is
So very good. Welcome everyone to the Fireside Chat for
We are
Monday,
here.
April
We are
27th.
with you.
We are with you, your community in the distance. We haven't said our tagline for a
We
while.
haven't, no.
We might not have said it all week
That's
last
a
week.
good point. I'm
We
sorry,
should put it up
people.
there in the screen here.
We should.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
Oh my.
welcome everybody. How y'all doing? Good to have you joining us here for the
Mm-hmm.
Fireside Chat. Hope you've had a good weekend. If you got any questions for us, go ahead and put those questions. I guess if you're on the YouTube, you can also like and subscribe. That gets you those.
That's true.
The little dink that
Right.
comes on. I mean, we don't get into like finance or anything, but if you just want to because we go live a lot, so we get lots of programming, 7 days a week.
I have an idea.
You do.
Yes, just came to me now. I wonder if we could talk to the bishop and see if he would have hey, Father Sean, double check this is okay.
Okay.
See if the bishop could add an indulgence to subscribing to our feed. Like, wouldn't that be great?
I don't know how to respond to that.
We would be the first indulgenced feed in
Yes.
probably the world.
Feed your indulgence.
Uh-huh.
Feed your indulgence.
By indulgencing your feed. Oh my goodness. Father Sean, is that okay? I think the bishop can put a local indulgence like that. I think. Mhm. I'd have to double check.
Yes. Well, I'm sure he's
Mhm.
doing his typing thing.
Father
right now.
Sean, don't you get any ideas? I know you have your own little feed. It's all ours.
Speaking of priests, Father Sean has his.
I wouldn't recommend it. He's just envious. Father Sean, envy is like a disease for the soul. Don't give into it.
Now, in case you missed it, Father Greg Hamas has his show on. He just started last week, called Being with God. You came up with that name, right?
No. Father Greg came up with it, then I crushed it, and then he resurrected it 5 years later.
Because Father Ashmore doesn't necessarily like that name. And
Okay, so it's not that I don't like the name. It's for what it wasn't going to work.
I see. But now,
This kind of works.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, so
it's also Father Greg's thing. Like that would never work with my brand. It works with Father Greg's brand though.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so Father Greg
Quirky
is
and
a
dorky.
good friend of ours. However, we are declaring live stream wars on Father Greg. So
right now it's cold.
revenge is a better.
Exactly. I'm sharpening my penknife.
So Father Greg, I mean, it was a good effort for your first show. I mean, B for effort. I mean, it was really quite decent. So, and then if we ever, I have Father Greg on a stick. So if we
Yes.
ever need him to come into our show, we got him right here. So. Check out Being with God. I think it might be on Fridays every week, but here is if ever we need to pick out Father Greg, if he needs to come and hang out with us, we've got him ready. So
Father Greg on a stick.
Father
right
Greg
here.
on a stick. Also, Father Sean is here with us as well, and he's got he did a really cool thing yesterday. I'll see if I can direct us over here. Here's his thing from YouTube. This is from Dear Evan Hansen. Is that the name?
I've never heard of that show. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I have. Is it the same guy that did Hamilton?
Oh, really?
But he plays this. I guess we got dueling horns here, but I think you can hear it here. And he plays all the trumpet parts for this song "You Will Be Found." So if you search for "You Will Be Found," Sean the Baptist on YouTube, you can hear his whole arrangement really of this, of him playing a whole. He plays one trumpet part and then he kind of overlays other trumpet parts. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So
he does a nice job.
He does a really nice job. So anyway, I might just encourage you to check that out if you're looking for something else to watch. So yes, you can watch Being with God with Father Greg, and then also
Trumpet Time.
And he's got a whole show, the Sean the Baptist show. But he last night he did this thing. It was really pretty cool. So anyway, thought I'd give my props to my friend Father Sean Tunick. So,
oh my,
there is that.
There is that. I'm upset that Father Sean, pardon me, wouldn't recommend indulgencing our feed. I don't understand why.
I don't know. Sean the Baptist said he should have called the show Hammer Time.
Hammer Time?
Stop. Hammer Time.
Yeah. Do you know why? Because there's an infamous picture of Father Greg. Have you seen this infamous picture?
No.
He dressed up as Hammer.
MC Hammer?
MC Hammer.
With the pants and all?
Yeah. Exactly. I don't know where the picture is. I wish I could. Yeah.
Oh, we'll have to find that.
Find it tomorrow.
Yes. Maybe put that out.
Gold
pants
pants and everything.
Yeah. So I've got a bunch of fun pictures of Father Greg. So again, Father Greg is a good friend of mine. Both Father Sean and Father Greg are good friends of mine. I've gone on some vacations and retreats with Father Greg, and so we have some fun pictures that I could possibly share. So we're coming after you, Father Greg.
Coming after you.
We were having some other conversation this past weekend that you were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought we could put this out for the debate.
I'm actually quite hurt. Would
so,
you like to bring up what you've done?
What have I done?
You have denigrated one of the sacred institutions of American culture.
I don't think I have. But do tell.
Well, so this weekend we got a wonderful delivery of some tacos on Saturday.
I think it was Saturday. Yeah.
Saturday, and so I came downstairs.
So thanks, Beth.
Yeah, Beth, thank you very much. I came downstairs, and first of all, he made fun of me because of the way I was eating the tacos.
That's right. I come in. This Rectory Life, episode 8. I was doing something else. I come into the kitchen and there's Father Ashmore. He's eating a cold taco over the trash can in his sweatpants. I'm like, you're really batching it up now here, Father. So it was just
quarantine life.
No, didn't even warm up the meat. He just put the meat in the taco, stood over the trash can, and ate his taco.
And you gotta have tacos. You gotta have tacos. So then I come in. So he is sitting there mercilessly ridiculing me for my lunchtime decisions. And we start having a conversation about tacos.
We do.
And he says that he doesn't really like hard shell tacos.
Right. Because they did have... Beth was very kind. She brought us the tortillas and also hard shell. I'm not a big hard shell taco fan. But So I had the tortillas. Tortillas?
And I had the tortillas too. So
yeah.
But I told him that one of my favorite types of hard shell tacos are actually the Dorito Locos tacos at Taco Bell.
Dorito Locos tacos. That is loco.
They are astoundingly good.
That sounds awful. When the commercial came out for the first time, I was like, that is the grossest thing I've ever seen.
They're amazing. They're amazing. So think about a taco.
Okay.
You got just envision a taco with me. You got the meat on the inside. You got the lettuce. You got the beautiful taco sauce and the little veggies and anything else you want on the taco.
So far, so good.
You got the delicious crunch.
Mm.
And a delicious crunch.
Mm.
And then you add a little bit of Cool Ranch. A masterpiece.
This comes from our local chef defining the Doritos tacos from Taco Bell.
So also the Dorito Locos tacos are slightly softer. So they're not as hard as a hard shell taco. So they need a little bit of the sleeve. You have to you have a paper sleeve, keeps the taco together. I'm not joking. That's a downfall of the Dorito Locos tacos. But you think that those ones are delicious. So you got the nacho cheese. Those are my least favorite of them all. Cool Ranch, those are second best. But you know what the best is?
No, I don't.
It would be the spicy or the red hot spicy ones because they've got a lime coating to them. So you got the spicy of the shell and you got the lime coating on the outside.
I like lime.
And then you add that all in together and you know what you have?
A masterpiece?
A delicious meal experience. That's what you have. And you only spent like 50 cents. Because it's made out of horse meat or whatnot. Who knows? But it's delicious.
I used to love Taco Bell. I used to go to Taco Bell all the time when I was in high school and college. And then one day, it just stopped settling well with me. And I pretty much, I don't think I've had Taco Bell for about a decade.
If that were to ever happen to me, I don't think I could muster the will to live.
So, yes, I am not, I used to be a huge Taco Bell fan. Because, yes, you get a whole meal for like, 25 cents or something.
Yeah.
Because back in my day, it was only 25 cents, right?
Mhm.
But
So here's a question for people. Have you had breakfast from Taco Bell?
that sounds like an awful idea to start off the day.
No, it's amazing. So, okay, so you and I talked about this briefly.
Briefly.
Here is my defense of breakfast from Taco Bell. So, what is McDonald's known for?
The Big Mac?
The Big Mac. Mm-hmm. Other sandwiches, fries. Then what do they serve for breakfast?
Not Big Macs.
No, they serve their Egg McMuffins.
Yep.
But then they have this other thing.
They have burritos.
They have burritos.
Breakfast burritos.
That does not fit in with the species of McDonald's.
That's true.
Species of McDonald's is hamburger place.
That's true.
And then they take that and they apply that to breakfast,
Yes.
and you get Egg McMuffins. Delicious.
Yes.
Mhm.
True.
But then they throw in burritos.
That's true.
That's making sense.
That's a fair. I'll grant there's no logical fallacy so far. I don't think.
So, you take Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
You apply their delicious chicken sandwiches, and what do you get in the morning?
I've never been to Chick-fil-A for breakfast.
You get burritos. That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
Mm-hmm. So then, any other restaurant that you take lunch and then you apply to the morning doesn't make any sense. But you take Taco Bell and you apply it to the morning. What do you get?
Egg McMuffins.
Breakfast burritos. Mm-hmm. Breakfast burritos, and you get those delicious breakfast tacos too. Have you ever had a breakfast taco from there?
No.
Mm-hmm. So this is my little ad for Taco Bell. If you want to have the most delicious lunch experience, go to Taco Bell. And if you want to have the most delicious and yet perfect to its species breakfast, go to Taco Bell for breakfast too.
We are not on the same page on Taco Bell.
No.
No, we have two different.
Something in your coffee. Oh my, yes. So
Doritos tacos. Made from Taco Bell.
okay, fine. Like, so moving on from our Taco Bell experience, I wanted to ask one other question before we get on to more important issues. You see, Susan Kavanaugh loves Taco Bell too.
Well, I mean, yes. I mean, you can't be right all the time, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. So, are we in favor or against the Oxford comma?
Oh gosh, you're pulling out. Remember how I told you that I got a B in seminary in grammar?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I was not. So grammar is not my strengthest suit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you know what the Oxford comma is?
Yes, it's like when you have a list, right? Isn't that the Oxford comma?
Yeah.
Where you have a list, you have. I went to Taco Bell and I bought a burrito, a Doritos taco, and cinnamon twists.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Oxford comma either puts a comma after Doritos taco or it doesn't. I forget which one it is. It does.
That way you're not getting the Dorito Locos tacos and the cinnamon twists crunched together in one bit.
Because if anything could be possibly worse than the Doritos tacos, it would be them combined with the cinnamon twists. Yes.
Mhm, exactly. So a lot of people don't put the Oxford comma, and it's because they're lazy slobs.
Okay. I am pro Oxford comma.
There
yes.
we go. So why I bring this up is that we learned this week that Ayesha Curry is the cookbook author, social media maven, and mother and wife to NBR superstar Stephen Curry.
Okay.
But they did not put an Oxford comma.
Do we need to go? We need
No,
to go to the ash
maybe we
cam
don't.
here.
I don't know if this will be helpful.
Well, but let me go to the ash cam and see if we can pick it up here.
I don't know.
Just a
They
second.
did not put.
Hold on.
Oh, you're not there.
Okay, now
They
I'm
did
there.
not put
And you gotta get closer.
the. Oh my.
There we go. We're close.
Can you see it?
No, not really.
Kind-ish. Nope, you can't see it. That's
No.
fine. They did not put an Oxford comma, so we found out that Stephen Curry's mother is also his wife. It says wife and mother.
I see. I see what you are saying. Yes. Well, I was always trained with the Oxford comma, so I'm pro Oxford comma, and but some people are very anti Oxford comma.
It's true.
We're Americans here. We don't put them British. That was the whole reason, I believe, for the American Revolution was that there was revolt against the comma, the Commonwealth.
That's not what I read.
But
But think about, I mean, all the other ways that you could cause travesties by not using an Oxford comma.
yes.
What is this?
Steve Lemons asks, "Is this Fireside Chat or Taco Talk?" Well, that's gonna be our
It's
our
both
subtitle.
and.
Yes.
Well, then.
So yes, I am not really. Yes, I have always done the Oxford comma, and I shall always. I also, but I don't know. I think I still put two spaces after the period.
That's
too.
what I was going to lead up to.
Oh.
Microsoft Word has committed a terrible travesty.
Oh dear.
Their most recent update on Microsoft Word now corrects the grammar so that it says two spaces after a period is incorrect.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, it's supposed to be better for like websites and stuff. I think that you're trying to train people not to do that because it takes up too much space or something. But I don't know. I think I do the double tap always after a sentence.
You see, that people lose the nuances to these things. I mean, so think about this.
Okay, do
so
tell.
Some people hate semicolons. And
I cannot figure out colons or semicolons.
Semicolons are the best.
I do dots for anytime I've got a doubt. I do a dot.
Oh.
I'm a dotter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Did I mention I got a B in grammar when I was in seminary? I think I got. I took seminary studies pretty seriously, and I think I was getting straight A's. And then one class, I turned in a paper, and the paper maybe was a little bit. I think the paper was pretty good, but I think he had a vendetta against me. I don't know, but I got a B, and it was basically the only explanation was because I didn't use proper grammar. So I got a B in the class because of a paper that I turned in with improper grammar. So, but I will freely admit that my grammar is not the best. But I really get confused about colons and semicolons.
Okay. So first of all, the problem is the name. They're not related.
Okay.
So, you would not use a colon in any situation where you use a semicolon. It's not just half a colon or anything like that. Like, if I only had half a colon, I'd be upset too. So first of all, we'll grant semicolon is a lacking of a good name. It should be called, I don't know, the... what could it be called? I'm really coming up with this on the spot. I have no idea.
Well, while you're thinking have you ever...
The mash jack. No, I'm just joking.
Have you ever seen Victor Borge and his punctuation thing? It is hilarious. If you if you have never seen Victor Borge, he is a very funny fella. But his whole thing on Victor, look up Victor Borge punctuation, and it should get you to because he does like this every what if we pronounce the pronunciation and everything, and it's like his period goes, and then comma, and then his semicolons, whatever, and so he's reading this whole thing, and it starts off really funny, Sally went to the store. Sally and Joe went to, and so it's very funny. But all right, so semicolon and colon.
Well, so
you did not think you were going to get a punctuation lesson here.
No,
You never know what you're going to get in the fireside chat, especially on a Monday morning.
So a colon is generally used for lists. You put a colon after you say, I went to the store and I bought these things. Colon. Eggs, a banana, and a
Doritos.
Dorito Locos Tacos. But a semicolon is used for dividing two ideas that are highly related and yet that are highly related and yet need a different concept in a certain way. So
They're kind of like two separate, aren't they? Like when you kind of combine two different sentences, like they stand alone as sentences because they've got
because
subject.
they're two dependent clauses.
Right.
But you wouldn't use a semicolon for two dependent clauses that have no relationship to each other.
Check.
You can use that for a period.
Check.
But you can use a semicolon to tie two ideas together. So something like, having gone to the store and walked to the back, I looked closely into the refrigerated section. They had no milk. So we just put two totally dependent clauses and then added that and put them together with a semicolon there. Now, why would you do that? Because it's delightful. Just think about that. Having done da-da-da-da-da, short sentence, they have no milk. It just makes me giggle.
I'm glad it makes me semi-giggle. Yes, I think the modern tendency is to kind of ignore the semicolon and just do two separate
It's
sentences,
because
right?
we lack...
We're lazy.
It's lazy. We lack clarity in our thought.
Yeah.
So, anyways, semicolon. I'm very pro semicolon.
And I'm scared. Nothing scares me like a semicolon.
Wow. Not even like the coronavirus? Or... I wake up in the middle of the night and I get shivers. Oh, I'm sweating. I look around, see if anyone's around, and I think back to my dream.
Now let me clarify my
The semicolon killer.
Let me clarify my thought. I said what I said was nothing scared. I said nothing scares me like the semicolon. I didn't say nothing scares me more than the semicolon. I said nothing scares me like the semicolon.
That's a good point. I'm sorry.
So there's a distinction there.
You're right.
There's a particular fear that comes with the semicolon.
Can you explain your particular fear? Does it
no.
start out with...
It's inexplicable.
Do you get hives? Do you get like...
So anyway, if you got any other questions for us about punctuation or anything else that you'd like to talk to us about, let us know. Yes, Victor Borga, extremely funny and very talented. Yeah, Victor Borga, he also...
Who is that? I've never heard of him.
Oh, it's tragic.
Oh.
Tragic. This guy's never heard of Victor Borga. We'll watch it. I think it's a 5-minute video, maybe if we got time afterwards or something, about his punctuation thing. Yeah, he's a classic comedian. He's a pianist. And theoretically, he is a very good pianist, but you never know that from his act because he sits by a piano and never really does anything. So, or he plays something and then he gets interrupted. Like he plays like one of those great bits was he played Happy Birthday as if like here's if Tchaikovsky wrote Happy Birthday, and he just does all these styles. So you know he's really talented, but his whole thing he keeps on interrupting his piano playing by his jokes and stuff. So we have gotten very far afield talking about tacos and colons.
Move on.
Which might be my problem.
Let's move on. We saw what just happened, and we'll...
So let me say hi to my nieces here. Hello, Rachel and Rosalie and Laura. Do you like tacos? Do you like Taco Bell? Have you had tacos? They can sometimes be delicious. They are more delicious when they are not from Taco Bell. So there's your life lesson for the day, Rachel, Rosalie, and Laura. Tacos are better when they are not from Taco Bell. So I have control of this camera, so that's what I get to do. So, all right, I'm going to go back to the main camera. All right, and there we go. So what other questions might you have for us today? Can we please talk about Father Sean the Baptist? Says he's not actually a Baptist, by the way. He's a Catholic priest. But it's a little play on his name there, Sean the Baptist. Can we talk about something normal, like how there are two natures in the one person of Jesus Christ?
It's not exactly normal.
Sure.
I mean, now mind you, it's a fascinating topic. Christology is, but are you curious? So, Father Sean, I presume you know this. Are you curious about whether or not there are two natures in one person of Christ?
Well, I don't think so. I think he's pretty clear on that.
Okay. Would you like? We could do like a little bit called My Favorite Heresy.
Yes, I'll try to see if I can come up with a theme song for my favorite heresy.
What could it be? Yeah, we'll think about that.
Favorite heresy. Just a little, little bumper music, what they said.
So my favorite heresy is monothelitism.
Do tell about monothelitism.
Monothelitism. So, monothelitism is the belief that Jesus Christ only has one will.
Right.
And
My favorite heresy, brought to you by Father Ashmore. I will bring you onto the ash cam. Tell us about my favorite heresy called monothelitism.
monothelitism. So, first of all, what do I mean by what do I mean by favorite here? That's the first question. First, it's one of my favorites because when you say the word, nobody knows what you mean. Monothelitism. Not even a lot of people who should know what monothelitism is. So it's just one of those things that always provokes good conversation. The second reason why is it has a lot to... It's a very important concept that Jesus Christ would have two wills, a human will and a divine will. But if you don't think about it clearly, then it would be simple to think, well, no, Jesus only has one will because he's one person, right? That is true. Jesus is one person, but he's one person who has two natures, a divine nature and a human nature. And this divine nature is fully intact and this human nature is fully intact. So if Jesus Christ didn't have both a divine will and a human will, somehow his divinity would be lacking and somehow his humanity would be lacking. And we wouldn't be able to see the interaction of the two wills when, for instance, at the Garden of Gethsemane, we see Jesus Christ say, "Not my will, but thy will be done." We see him putting his human will at the service of his divine will. Then, if you don't think that Jesus Christ has two wills, you look at that scene and you think, how can Jesus Christ say, "My will, but thine will," when there's unity to God, and we believe that God is one, and we also believe that Jesus Christ is one. So it has a lot of really important theological considerations, monothelitism does, and not many people think about it. So that's why that is probably my favorite heresy.
So that was my favorite heresy, brought to you by Father Ashmore. Very good.
Yeah. So I think that comes to a really interesting concept. A lot of people look at the word heresy and they see only negative connotations.
Mm-hmm.
And that's totally normal because heresy is a bad thing.
Right.
Heresy is a false teaching about Christ. It literally means, I'm starting to second guess myself. It means to be cut off, doesn't it? Heresy?
Father Strong can
I'd have to double check. I'm
clarify with
kind
us.
of blanking for the moment, but it means to be cut off in a certain way. So,
Okay.
or to go one's own path. Father Sean the Baptist says he has nightmares about monothelitism. But one of the reasons why the church has been so precise in making sure to define what heresies are and what is the Orthodox faith is that when you look at a heresy and you see it as false, it reveals the truth about the Orthodox faith. So without the heresy of monothelitism, without my being able to say that is a heresy, I wouldn't know clearly whether or not Christ has two wills. So the very fact that we, throughout the history of the church, defined to pick and choose, that's right. Thank you. I knew that wasn't right. To pick and choose means heresy. If without the church going through and saying what is heresy and what is not, we wouldn't have a clear understanding of what the true faith is.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So
Arius is the big kind of the big first main one, kind of, right?
Who is?
Arius.
Yeah, I mean, there's other ones like Paul Samatoa before that.
I mean, didn't the whole Council of Nicaea come out of Arius?
Yeah. But before that, there was even the heresy of Patripassianism. That's another good one.
Well, sure, but I'm not talking about the first one, but the first kind. I mean, the big major one.
Yeah.
It seems like was Arianism, because that's where the whole Council of Nicaea said we need to really define who Jesus is. I mean, we see real concrete things happening in response to Arianism, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they have we need to call the whole church together and figure out just who is this Jesus Christ? Is he fully God and fully man or not? Because Arius said he was
the greatest creation.
Yeah, not fully God.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. He was not fully God. And it's hard to understand exactly what Arius meant by that. But what we mean by Arianism is that the Son of God, as you would call him, is the greatest creation of God's acts,
Mhm.
and he's a sonship. There's a sonship relationship because it reflects him. Keep on wanting more. Hey, we've been working on this for weeks. Mm-hmm.
So very good.
But I can talk about Patripassianism in another time. Mm-hmm.
Jen, I really like that. Grief, mourning, and semicolons. Semicolon. The life of a Catholic priest.
Oh my!
That could be my autobiography. By the way, Father Sean. If you want to tell your autobiography, Father Sean, I'll let you, because I think it includes a semicolon as well. It's a pretty clever title for his autobiography. He hasn't really written it, but it's Father Sean Tuning. So, Father Sean, I invite you to type your autobiographical title into the comments, should you wish. Let's see here.
Bonnie says, I have free will, but don't I also have to determine what God's will is for me? Would you like to take a stab at
that? Sure. So, yes. God always knows us better than we know ourselves. That's kind of the underlying principle. So if God knows what knows us better than we do, then we want to do what is best for us because God wants what's best for us. And so then if we choose what God wants for us, we will be happy in the fullest sense because God desires our true happiness, not frivolity, but true joy, true happiness. That's what God desires for us. So we still have free will. That's true. I use sometimes the analogy of with like couples that have been married for a long time. And talk about free will and predestination or whatever. You know your husband or your wife is going to do something. Mm-hmm. They are going to leave their dishes in the kitchen sink or whatever. You know that. And you could predict the future, if you will, that they're going to do that. Do they have free will not to? Yes. But are you able to say, this person is going to do this? Yes, because you know that person so well. So God knows us so well. He knows what we're going to do even before we do it, right? Because he knows us way better than even a spouse or whatever. You say, how do you know I was going to do that? Well, I've known you for a long time. So however great of a relationship you might have with a spouse, God is infinitely more than that, and God knows us more. So if we want to, we do have free will, and we can reject that, but God is always right, and God always knows better than we do. So if we want to be happy, if we want to do what is good for us, we choose what God wants for us.
Okay, so you're a Molinist.
Am I a heretic?
No, you're not a heretic.
Okay.
No. This is two theological camps in a controversy called the De Auxiliis controversy in the 16th and 17th century. I am not a Molinist.
Okay.
I'm a Bernesian.
I don't know. I have no idea what he's talking about.
That's okay. So this is actually a very complicated topic. It's very, very complicated. Probably one of the more difficult subjects. The Dominicans and the Jesuits had a huge theological controversy that they argued over for couple hundred years, and different leaders in different camps essentially wanted to say the other person was a heresy. You have the Molinist camp, and you have what would be the classical Thomistic camp, also called the Bernesian camp. And I know
which is clearly what you are.
Certainly. I'm a Bernesian, I think. I'm still kind of divided on the topic, because I've got some friends who don't argue for that. But what's interesting about this topic, and I don't want to bore people out too much, is that at the end of it, they tried essentially to claim that each other were heretics, and at the end, the Pope said, neither one of you are heretics, and you cannot claim that each other are heretics at this point. And that's all he said. So Molinists say essentially that we receive grace because God sees what we would do with grace, and then he responds to that by giving us grace. So God can see into the future, quote unquote, and Bernesians would say the grace is the grace that you get, and it's before you're even created in a certain way, God knows how much grace is going to give you in your life. I'm more of a Benesian, and it's very complicated as to why, but it's fascinating to hear.
I'm not sure if I would say I'm necessarily a mole. Because I don't even know what I don't even know what a Molinite is, but
Well, you defined an interesting part of Molinism by talking about what are called futurables. Futurables, which would be the knowledge that God has for you. So this is what Molinists believe. I don't believe futurables exist, but that would be the type of knowledge that God would have of you, considering about future events that could happen in your circumstances. So, like, he knows that you would do this in the circumstance. That's called a futurable in the Molinist camp. Isn't that fascinating? I find the very topic fascinating, but...
I'm not sure if I fully understand this, so maybe this might be a topic for another day.
Yeah, we don't want to dig our can too much. Father Sean's in here probably like, why is he talking about Molinism here?
Well, Father Sean, I think you started all this, so...
It's true.
Well, no, that's not true. I guess Bonnie was talking about the...
But anyways... I
yes,
think,
Father Ashmore is nerding out again.
So
I concur.
To go back to the question about the free will, I think it's important, as Father Kent noted, it's important to know that at every moment of our existence, God is upholding us in existence. We can't move unless God first moves us.
Right.
Which means not that God is sitting here and being like, okay, Father Ashmore lifts his cup. But movement itself comes from God, because if we didn't have somebody moving us, if we didn't have this activity, we would be living in non-existence. Existence itself comes from God, who's the basis of existence. And so when we talk about free will, we're talking about how God upholds us in existence, and yet even upholding us in existence allows us to determine our own existence. Now, that doesn't mean having I can't determine myself to be one thing versus another thing, but I can determine the end of who I am. So I can determine all my decisions, but God still is upholding me in existence. So he is still in some way influencing my very being. And so there's this interaction here that God's will for me is not in contradiction to my free will, because he wills my free will.
Right.
But he brings them together, and there's a beautiful connaturality between the two. So and I think it's important not to put God's will versus our will in contradiction to each other. That would be really the problem of nominalism. That would be the heresy of nominalism, which came out of like the 14th, 15th century, and William Wockham. I'm so sorry. Very nerdy right now. But that would be the problem of nominalism. There's always this competition of wills between God and man. But instead there's a connaturality. God wills that I have free will.
Yes.
And he wills everything that I am. And even at every moment, he's upholding me in existence and moving me to move. And so there is this beautiful, that he's even willing my free will. There's a connaturality there.
Well, right. Wouldn't we say that that's the kind of the basis of love then? That he created, he didn't create us he created us to be lovers. That we could freely choose to love. And love is always a choice.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have free will, you don't have love.
Exactly. You're taking my Thomism, you're putting in John Paul II's words, which is beautiful. Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. No, that's beautiful. Yeah, no.
So, well, I mean, but see, here's the question. What would Father Greg say? That's...
this is too nerdy for me. Father Ashmore, I just want some beer. Can we just get...
You'd want a coffee, probably.
I want a coffee.
Being with God.
Being with God.
So, all right. Any other comments or thoughts or questions? We got into all kinds of things. You never know what you're going to get when you tune into this program. Today you have had...
We've been all over the place today. This has been a fun episode.
I've had fun. I hope other people have had fun.
Yeah.
We've talked about tacos and Father Greg and free will and heresies and all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
So any other questions that you might have? Let me check over on the tube as well. Thanks, Lori, for the... I was going to mention, I really am enjoying doing this Bible study on Saturday morning. So thanks all who have tuned in. I don't know if this little thing is going to be at all helpful, because, I mean, theoretically, actually, I thought I trimmed this, actually, because that's a really exciting view of my little bar area or whatever. But anyway, there was a big group on Zoom there and on Facebook, so I'm doing that every every Saturday at 9 a.m. with an 8:30 discussion beforehand. So last week we talked about the Acts of the Apostles, and this week we are talking about Galatians. So if you want to go back and check that out, I need to do some editing on all the videos there, but I think what I will probably do is I will edit on the YouTube, because those will be a little bit easier to find than the Facebook videos, I think. So I put them in, at least the Bible studies into a playlist. I could also put the fireside chats into the playlist there, and I could do like major topics discussed. Like if you want to go back and see the one that we talked about, like indulgences, you could go maybe search for that. Or if you want to find the one about birds aren't real or tacos, you could find, or bacon, you could find that theoretically.
I have to respond to something from Gene here. Gene Russell says, with our great Spanish community, how can you not expand beyond Taco Bell? I speak Spanish. I love my Hispanic people. I love Hispanic food, Latin American food, but I'm still a white boy. And white boys like their Taco Bell.
Well, yes. Well, and I think there's also just there's some. I mean, I also like On the Border, which is a class all of itself. It's like Tex-Mex. So I wouldn't go to On the Border saying I'm going to a Mexican restaurant. I'd say I'm going to a Tex-Mex restaurant. So I will grant you that there is something about fast food, Americanish Mexican food that hits a particular taste bud, and I will grant that. I mean, probably lots of people would say like McDonald's, that's not a real hamburger or whatever. They might say, but also it hits the taste buds at the right place. The Big Mac's a pretty tasty little sandwich, So, but if it's like, well, it's not a real burger that I'm frying up on the grill or whatever. Well, okay, that's probably true, but there is a particular taste bud. So I will grant you that in the particular circumstances, yes, Taco Bell. But don't I will say, don't say that Taco Bell is Mexican food.
Oh no. So it is Taco Bell.
Or don't even say those are tacos.
Yeah,
I mean, I always say those are tacos in the loosest sense of the word.
I mean, they're American tacos.
They're American tacos, yes. But like, if you
you don't go down to Mexico and ask where your cheesy gordito crunch is. Perdóname, quisiera una cheesy gordito crunch.
But a lot of people, I think that the Taco Bell is kind of the standard for tacos. It's a particular type of taco. But someone also was mentioning street tacos. I think that was
street tacos are
the
great.
best. One of my favorite foods are the street tacos al pastor. And who was commenting on those earlier? Was it Carly? I think it was Carly that was talking about where do you want to go for street tacos afterwards, and I'll have to think about that. My favorite one, it's not very close to here, but was San Antonio on State Avenue. That was pretty close to my previous assignment, and they have the best tacos al pastor that I know of. So,
and I mean, we have to be honest. Any day of the week, I'd prefer a good street taco over Taco Bell.
Okay, fair enough. Yes.
Just you gotta know your species here.
That's right. That's right.
Different species of tacos.
That's right. So, well, yes, I'm glad that you have at least that sense. But yeah, but I will also grant that a Taco Bell is just right at the right circumstances for certain people. So.
And Lori mentions the fact that the Pope sent 2 prayers to the world to be said after the Rosary, and to dedicate the month of May to pray for Mary for her help with the pandemic. I've seen a little bit about that. I don't know too much about that, though, so we'll research to see what's going on there.
Javine says On the Border is a little better than Taco Bell. I'd say it's a lot better than Taco Bell myself. But
certainly.
I have not explored Fronteras too much yet, but
we did have it last week.
We did.
Deacon Steve
brought it, and it's good. I have not found a place yet, a restaurant that does like other things, that does street tacos the way that I really like them. So like San Antonio's, it's like you walk up and you see them like carving it off the spinny thing. And it's really good, and they're kind of specialized. It's kind of like it's kind of fast food there, and it's a particular type that's just really tasty. So I have not had a great experience of more formal restaurants with street tacos. But so I haven't found a place. So I haven't tried. So I guess I haven't tried Frontera's street tacos because I'd probably get something different there. Because again, when I go to a restaurant, I don't generally get the street tacos. If I go to like a more of a fast food kind of place, the place over here. Oh, I think the place over here that's really close on 75th and Quivira, Mi Poblito. I think Father Dan really liked that place, and he brought tacos there, and those are pretty good. But I think that's what that's where I'd get the street tacos more than I'd get them at like Frontera's.
Okay, I've never been to Mi Poblito.
Yeah. K Machos. I don't know K Machos.
The tacos at the GS Volunteer Appreciation Night were great.
That is true. They were delicious.
I've had them twice.
That's the style. That's the style, right?
I've had them twice. Those particular people, and they do a fantastic job.
So they have the thing there that they're grilling right up there, and you can see it happening.
One day I went to go say mass over at the cathedral, and it was a Spanish mass. And afterwards, I got done, and I had to drive down to Mound City because I was saying a special mass down in Mound City, and so I was trying to get out of there. And the people were making street tacos afterwards, and I was like, oh, I really don't need any. And they're like, oh, Father, you need some. And so finally I said, okay, I'll take one. And by the end, I was walking away with 4 tacos. And I ate them as I was going home, and I could smell the tacos in my car. And you would think that'd be terrible, but because they were street tacos, it was amazing. For like a week afterwards. Yeah.
Nice.
Street tacos are great.
Emily put in a plug for Manny's. Also, yes, I think that you have relatives that run that restaurant, if I recall. I think you were associated with that restaurant. Is that right, Emily?
I don't know.
Yes, Manny's right there on Southwest Boulevard. A good place also.
Well, now we're just talking about tacos. So
I know.
we should
yes,
sign off.
Well, this is kind of... well, Father can't let us have Mexican food all day at Fall Festival this year. I think we had Mexican food all day at the Fall Festival this year. I think there were a couple stands there. So... we need to talk about Fall Festival. It's getting closer now,
right.
But all pandemia has struck. So, I mean, didn't necessarily bar it, but I wanted a different feel for the 2 different times of the day, and didn't want to overwork anybody. So that was kind of the idea. All right.
I think that's about it for today, isn't it?
That is, yes. I don't know if there's any other comments or Dulce Reale. So, yeah, keep those comments coming there. Who catered volunteered appreciation? I'm not sure. But I did want to respond also to Jane's comment earlier about putting dates on chats and Bible studies. Yes, possibly. Again, this is why we don't do this in normal time, because the recording part, that's the easy part. The going back and editing and putting things, that takes a long time. That's why these are just kind of thrown up here. We don't do any editing really on the programs at all. That's what always takes a bunch of work. So I will try to get at least the YouTube ones updated, because again, I think that'll be easier to find in the future rather than a Facebook feed. I think that's easier. I don't know exactly how you sort things in a Facebook Live, which is one of the reasons we didn't do Facebook Live at the beginning with like my Tuesday Night Live show, was because I thought it'd be easier to find the shows. But
we'll work on it. We'll take a look.
So, all right. Oh, also, check out the website. Father Ashmore worked really hard on the website this weekend and did some great updates. So if you have not recently been to gsshawnee.org, check it out. It still needs some work, but it's a lot.
It's all a work in progress.
It's a work in progress, but
we finally know how to fix things. So
right.
This is when I got here, a lot of people didn't know how any of it worked, so I had to go through and basically discover how they work.
Yeah. So and I know nothing about website design. Fortunately, Father Ashmore over here does. So, all right, and then also plug in for the Tonight Show. The show that's on tonight, which is Monday Musings with Mary Mueller. Love all them M's. That's tonight at 7 o'clock. So there should be more information with a Zoom link and everything coming up. Check out the Facebook feed. Hopefully it's on the website. And I think it was in the Friday newsletter. So again, a chance for people to see each other, talk to one another, build community. So we are your community in the distance, but that's a better being able to see faces and everything. So that's kind of the design. So hopefully you can tune into that tonight. We will be back for the Rosary at 12, and then for the chat again tomorrow morning at 10. So thanks so much for tuning in.
Thank you all so much. God bless you.